This sprawling 400-acre development is the future spot for affordable luxury homes with your own private airstrip in the backyard. This is the scene for round 3 of the National Stoll Series in 2024.
We're going to start with the backcountry class presented by Ladd Gardner Aviation Insurance. Here's the lineup of who you're going to see in the backcountry class. We've got Jerry Clemens in a 2008 Aviat Husky, Brad Crawford also in a Husky, John Luton, guess what, also in a Husky, Scott Sweet in a 1974 Belanca Scout, the Colonel, Matt Peterson, who presented the national anthem to you in a 1957 Cessna 172, Ed Smith in a 1952 Cessna 170 Bravo model. That is the beginnings of the backcountry class. Oh, and check it out, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I've got the Dombrowski girls. Hey, girls, Kristen, Elaine, and Emily, thank you for watching. Here's Jerry Clemens now, tail up high. Take it into that crosswind, flaps down. I had to put a little extra gusto on that because my girls are watching. I got to make sure we do a good job.
Jerry pulled a little early. That cost him some distance, but he'll get that dialed in, I'm sure.
And here's Brad Crawford now, number 16. Same thing. Little early.
The conditions are just so much different from what they practiced yesterday. So I'm sure they'll get that figured out probably this next run. They want to get across that line again to get that score, but this first run is really just the practice for the day.
John Luton in the Husky.
Much better timing on that one. Didn't cost him near as much distance.
We can feel a little bit of breeze coming across the trailer now. Here's Scott Sweet.
Oh, nice takeoff. Very nice takeoff. He timed that one out perfect.
You got to wonder if there's a little bit of an advantage to watching
I'm
the
sure
first
there
couple
is.
go.
I'm sure there is.
Here's the Colonel, Matt Peterson, in that 172. See, Jerry Clemens kind of set the tone for cheating into the crosswind a little bit. And what I mean by that, folks, is you'll notice the aircraft are lining up on their right side of the runway. They're trying to get that crosswind that's coming from the left over the nose. Matt's full throttle down the runway, and he's off. Now he does have. It's a hard thing to compete against Huskies in a 172.
It definitely is.
Here's Ed Smith. Look at him mowing the lawn there, getting going. Tail nice and high.
He wants to get that wing as flat as he can to reduce as much drag as he can so he can accelerate as hard as he can.
Now he's got to nurse those flaps off and climb.
And we've got Jerry coming in on final. And it looks like he's going to come down and just drag it in and hope to get across that line. Remember, this year they're not allowed to land on the line. They've got to land past the line, which is a change in the rules from previous years in the National Stoll Series.
As Jerry approaches right now, I want to set the stage. The current leader, 176 feet, is Brad Crawford. Jerry with 188. But again, it's a combined score that gets you the win. Over the line, it's good. And that was that reverse pitch propeller.
He just throws on the brakes. That was awesome. That was a really good landing for him. He didn't give up a whole lot. He was able to get everything in sequence just in time so that he could throw that bait in there and put the brakes on that airplane greater than the wheel brakes can do it.
He looked happy with it in the cockpit, too.
That was a really good one for him. That was a good run for him. He gets that takeoff straightened out. I think he's got a little more on to give on the landing as well. So I think Jerry's going to do quite well.
Combined score of 333 feet for Jerry Clemens, setting the line.
Oh, he just pulled that off. That was a nice recovery and a very good stop.
Very good stop for Brad Crawford, and you could see, or at least we could see, the tail wheel just spinning because he did actually drag the tail wheel up to the line. That is allowed in the rules, and you were talking yesterday, Russ, about how that's great because you're getting a little bit of drag on the aircraft to slow it down before your mains are down.
That's correct. It'll definitely slow them down. They've got to be careful not to hit the ground too hard with that tailwind because that will force the mains down and cause them to scratch. And he was able to give it just a little bit of boost in that power to hold those mains off just across the line. And it really worked out well for him.
Scott Sweet on short final.
And he's looking to do the same thing. He's got that tail low. And see, he held that tailwind off. And it cost him almost 100 more feet.
Good over the line for
He's been doing it all weekend.
Yeah, it's a good start for this heat.
Actually, I apologize. This is Scott Sweet. That was John Luton. Here we go. Scott's got to get it on the brakes, on the binders. About the same place as John Luton.
He carried a lot of energy in across that line.
Matt Peterson's off over the trees there. I want to talk a little bit about the season. This is the third event of the season for National Stoll in 2024. You are going to love what you're seeing today, and you're going to want to come to the next one. So let me give you just a little brief look into our calendar. Moses Lake Air Show, June 14th through 16th in Moses Lake, Washington. And then after that, also in June, Appalachian Mountain Stoll, June 28th. Matt holding it off.
And
woo!
The Colonel did a good job with that one. I was a little worried that wing was going to give up because he was getting so slow that he was going to wind up scratching, but he managed to just float right across and set down just this side of the line. So it was really good landing for Matt.
Matt coming in with a combined score of 641. A couple other scores to update you on after this next landing. Here's Ed Smith holding it. Oh, that's a scratch.
A little short
for Ed Smith. Would have been a good one. Really gentle on the touchdown. Let's look at where we're at now, Russ. We've got Brad Crawford currently in the lead with 304 feet. Jerry Clemens in second place with 333. Look at the close battle for third. John Luton with 401. Scott Sweet 402. Just a foot separating them for third place right now. Matt Peterson 641 and Ed Smith not on the board yet with that scratch.
Well, Jerry Clements is leading them back around to get lined up for the second run. Second of 3 runs. Yeah, I heard it too.
We are getting ready for the next run there. Oh, and it looks like we've got a stuck aircraft there. They're rocking. Matt's 172 appears to have gotten stuck in one of the mud pits left over from practice yesterday.
We definitely got quite a bit of rain a couple of days ago, and that taxiway is still a little bit saturated. The runway is in good shape. The runway's crowned well. This is a really nice runway.
Look at that teamwork. And of course, Matt making the right call, shutting the engine down, and now it's just A little manpower to get it moving. Smart to push the tail down, get the nose out of that mud. And while they get him figured out, we actually have Christine Bogey in the field. Christine, who you got there?
Hey Ryan, I'm here with one of our rookies. I'm gonna let him tell you guys all about himself. But this one interesting fact, we have more rookies in this competition than we've ever had, which is really exciting that we're getting a lot of people interested in this STOL event. So here we go. First rookie of the day. Tell me about yourself.
I'm Tristan Nichols. I'm from Northeast Kansas, flying a 2012 Carbon Cub SS. Big time rookie. I've only had it for 8 months or so. Bought it wrecked, rebuilt it. Got it done here a few months ago before summer. And yeah, just been having fun. Happy to be here.
Now, what did you do to prepare for this event?
Set up some cones at the local airport and just seeing how many times I could hit the cones. With that, fly with Pat McIntyre some. He gave me a bunch of good tips, so thankful for that. Yeah, yesterday went good.
He's definitely a good one to go with.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. So, yeah, Jared Garrettson, hung out with him a little bit. We fly the riverbeds in Kansas quite a bit, and yeah, that's definitely helped too.
So what are you expecting from this competition today?
I mean, I'm gonna try to place, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. Got some up against some Ranzes, and yeah, they're good. Bunch of good pilots in the rookie class, so it'll be a good time.
Well, we're excited to see what you can do. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. Back to you, Ryan.
Thanks so much, Christine. Really cool to see all the rookies here today. And like Christine mentioned, there are a lot of them, maybe more than we've ever had. Any tips for the rookies before we get fired up in the second heat?
Get it across that line.
Get it across that line.
Do what you do every day. Don't do anything new. Don't do anything different. Let's just get it across the line and be safe. Make it a learning experience. And Jerry's fired up. He's got his tail up, releasing those brakes, and here we go.
Mowing the lawn a little bit.
Still pulled a little bit early. He needs to give it another 2 or 3 seconds, I think.
Brad Crawford currently in first place. Getting that tail up. Something to mention here, just to make sure everyone's aware, if the airplane takes off and then settles back down again, we go from where the mains touched the second time. Here's John Luden.
John had a nice takeoff there.
Some pretty good improvements on scores from the first two. We've got an improvement from Brad Crawford down to 148. Scott Sweet now. Yank it back on the stick. His previous takeoff was 183. Here comes the Colonel with a little more mud on the nose gear than before.
Add a little extra weight.
A little extra weight, probably. Previous takeoff, 385 feet for the Colonel. That looked cleaner to me.
That looked a lot better.
And Ed Smith now. Second run of the heat. Needs to get something on the board.
Yeah, he'd definitely be in a disadvantage if he were to scratch on this one. And he rolls down in that 170 for his second takeoff. We've got Jerry coming in on final.
A little bit of sink back down, but he's got it under control. The 170 Bravo model that Ed Smith is flying is kind of the quintessential competitor. Like, you've either got Huskies or 170s typically in this class that are very competitive. And normally we see Jeff Pohl and Michael Lindstrom duking it out as well. They call themselves the 170 Mafia.
Here we got Jerry coming in from the crowd's left, our right. He's going to drag it again. His tail wheel is on the ground, and he just fell short.
Now, if that would have been good, that would have been an incredibly, I mean, you add a couple feet because he would have been over the line. That would have
Absolutely. And you'll notice that he was able to deploy that beta just as soon as he touched down, so he had everything set up. His only problem was his tail wheel drug a little too hard just before the line, which brought his mains down probably about a foot short.
Brad Crawford.
Tail wheel's on the ground, and he's going to be short as well.
Scratch for him as well. He'll maintain his first place thus far.
And you can see what we talked about. They've got good scores on that first run, so they're really going for it on the second run. And, of course, it hasn't worked out for either one of them. But they've got one more run to go.
John Luton off on final approach. Want to mention a few things you can do if you are here in Pensacola. Obviously, there's a helicopter flying around. I kind of want to go for a helicopter ride. I don't know if I'm going to get the chance, but someone should. Other things you got to do, check out some of our annual sponsors who have booths. Red Tag Art and Flying Eyes are here. Here's John Luton now dropping it in with a big bounce. Getting it stopped. In this case, we measure from the wheel that's furthest away from the line. Not always about passenger comfort, and I feel like we got to talk a little bit about shocks. We're going to talk about shocks a lot today.
So you'll see some of the different classes that come in. Now these are pretty much all certified airplanes here, pretty much. So they're running these spring gears, which allows them to bounce quite a bit. You saw that airplane have a pretty good bounce.
Especially the Citabrias, kind of, that's one of the qualities they have. They've got a reputation for that.
That's correct. So it's not really absorbing that shock as it comes down, because that is one of the techniques that helps slow you down, is to put as much as energy into those landing gears as you can without obviously damaging them or causing the suspension to cause you to bounce, because that bounce definitely costs you some time, or should I say distance. We got Matt coming in, and he's going to be a little short, probably about 8 or 10 feet. He got a little slow, and the wind just kind of came out from under those wings. All right, he needs to get across that line this time. It looks like he's not going to have any problem. He gave up about 75 feet to make sure that he got a score on that one.
And now check out Christine Bogey back in the pits. Christine, who's up next?
Hey Ryan, I'm here with James Johnson. He flew all the way here from Eastern Colorado. And now tell us about the aircraft that you came over here in.
So it's a 2023 Ram Jet 7. I built it and painted it. Got a 912 ULS engine in it. I only have about 60 hours on it. Just a wonderful airplane made in Eastern Kansas. So just really enjoy it. Got into flying Ranges because I know Joe Milloway and Hal Stockman.
Awesome. So has this always been something you wanted to try, a STOL?
Oh yeah, I've always seen Hal doing it, and then I've been wanting to do it, but I've been chicken, and then finally he come out to my house and picked me up, and we flew out here together, and now I'm giving it a try.
Well, that's awesome. What are you expecting from today?
Just to have a good time and go home in the airplane.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Back to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Christine, and we can't wait to watch him fly. He was putting in some good practice yesterday. Really appreciate that. Love it when rookies come out and really put in some work. Here's Jerry Clemens now, getting ready to go. Lined again into that crosswind as much as he can. You want to get more of that wind on the nose to help you get a shorter takeoff distance.
So Jerry, of course, he scored the first run. He scratched the second, so he definitely wants to go for it on this one, but he really needs to get across that line.
Yeah, I mean, he's in striking distance of first place. His best score so far, that first one, was 333. Brad Crawford also scratched, though, still holding in first at 304.
He's got that tail up, get those wings as flat as possible so he can accelerate as quick as he can.
There we go.
He just nailed that takeoff, absolutely nailed it.
So now if you're Brad Crawford, you may have just lost that 20-foot or so lead, depending on what Jerry does on the landing. Getting the tail up. Notice the execution of the flaps. Not really getting off the ground as cleanly as Jerry did.
Yeah, he hit that tail a little hard, and that caused him to come right back down. He settled down right back out in front of us after initially leaving the ground with a pretty good distance.
John Luton currently in third place. That last run did extend his lead beyond Scott Sweet a little bit.
Tail up, banged that tail a little bit, and did just like the previous. He settled back down afterwards.
Scott Sweet, previous takeoff 196, was actually longer than his first, so he's got some improvement to do to try to get back in striking distance of John.
That was a nice takeoff for him.
That was a nice takeoff and a hard one to judge because the mains came off, the tail hit a little bit and kind of stayed, and it kind of floated above the grass. Hard to see exactly where it was there. Matt Peterson now in the 172. Almost digging the tail skid in there a little bit for Matt. That's good to see. Ed Smith did get a score on the board. Second run, 505 for his combined score. So currently in fifth place.
See how he gets off that ground and flattens out so he can accelerate so that he has climb speed to climb over those trees, which on the camera look a lot closer than they truly are.
They do look a lot closer on camera. Jerry Clemens on final approach. Let's talk about what we were talking about before. I want to make sure I mention this. Red Tag Art is on the field. We love them and their support. Go check out their unique aviation art based off red tag items from the aviation industry. Flying Eyes is here. I'm wearing my Flying Eyes. You're wearing your Flying Eyes.
I've got my Flying Eyes
Go get
on
fit
today.
up for a pair of Flying Eyes glasses if you'd like. And then Bold Aviation, one of our local sponsors, is here with their apparel. And Fly ARH is doing helicopter rides. You can see the Robinson there. Jerry Clemens now bouncing right on the line. Heavy on the beta thrust. That is aggressive for Jerry Clemens.
That was a very good landing for him. He only gave up about 6 feet on the line and was able to deploy that beta and stop in short order.
And actually, they're doing it in review right now. They're going frame by, and they called it a scratch.
Oh no!
He touched
Terry!
just before the line. Here is Brad Crawford, also with a scratch.
Also with a scratch.
Woo! That got it. We almost saw a lead change there. By maybe a foot. Maybe a foot for Jerry Clemens.
That's disappointing for Jerry. I know he's going to be upset over that one. So close.
John Luton now hanging out there on short final over the grass.
Got that. And he's going to be a scratch. That tail came down just a little hard on him. Whoa, get her control.
He just wanted to say hi to the crowd and
There you
wave
go.
at him there. Right around 175 feet. So we're scratching it up. It's like we're doing lotto tickets this round. Scott
that's-
Sweet.
You know, when you look at Jerry's run, that's why it's so important to get that first one in.
Yeah, it's like you predicted it. He might want to talk to you. Maybe you jinxed it. But you're right. You got to get the safe one. Here's Scott Sweet. A little bit of wing drop. Getting it over on the left main for a little bit. Got to get it stopped, Scott.
And he's a scratch.
And a scratch for Scott as well.
Waving that blue flag. I think when that right wing came down, that main came down too, and it left him a little bit short.
Yeah, you can see on the replay here the grass getting
just
picked up by the
landed
main here.
just before the line. So much so that those bush wheels were on the line and off just before the line.
Colonel coming in with a higher approach this time.
Carrying a little more energy, and he's still going to scratch.
Okay, we might go for what's the national stole equivalent of the opposite of a hat trick.
The opposite of a hat trick.
You might have.
I think they call that batting 1,000.
Here's Ed Smith.
Ed's going to save the day.
I don't know. Maybe he should scratch just so we're consistent this run.
Is there a trophy for most consistent run?
There is a trophy for most consistent, but
or should say
not
most consistent heat.
Most consistent heat of scratches, yeah.
All right, let's see what Ed can do. He's coming in. He's got low. It looks like he's carrying a little bit of energy, a little extra energy. He's just floated up. And he is a good landing. And by far his best of the day.
So Ed Smith saving us from 6 scratches on that last run. We'll be back with the final scores in just a second. Stick with us right after these messages from our sponsors. So that was the backcountry class. Things are just starting to heat up. Does anyone want to know what the scores were? Do you guys want to know? Matt says no. Matt says no. All right, we'll read you the top 3. You can go to nationalstole.com to get the full scores. In 3rd place, with a combined score of 385 feet, John Luton.
Yeah, good! Right here.
In 2nd place, with a combined score of 333 feet, Jerry Clemens. Yeah. He's like 333. And in 1st place, with a combined score, let's give it up. Wait, I can't do that in that order. With 304 feet, let's give it up for Brad Crawford.
Great job. Awesome job. You should get hand first. Congrats. Right on the top. Oh, 1 second.
No, let's go.
Interview with you.
Brad, tell me how it was out there.
Man, it was great. We got a little bit of wind coming out and a little bit of a crosswind. The line, I'm going to blame it on the line for a couple of scratches out there, but other than that, it's a great day. Blessed to be here. Thank you all for having me.
All right, everyone. Let's get a group photo. We need a big cheer because they got to look excited. You guys got to cheer for them.
All right. Put those trophies down by your...
There's your backcountry class, folks.